I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
Claims in the federal arson case against the former Turkey Leg Hut co-owner. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Serrano.
And I'm Lisa Fernandez. Right now, a judge is deciding whether to keep Lynn Price in custody after prosecutors shared concerns that he threatened a witness or potential jurors. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live in the newsroom after hours in the courtroom this morning. Bryce.
Yeah, Lisa and Andy, for the former Turkey Leg Hut owner, federal prosecutors say the turkeys have come home to roost. They say for years, Lynn Price has tried to keep his hands clean of crimes, paying off others to do the dirty work, and they want to keep him in custody. During a more than 2-hour hearing, an FBI agent testified that Price paid $1,400 to have his ex-business partner's bar, 5015, blown up nearly 5 years ago. This is surveillance video from that early morning in June of 2020 when masked men poured gasoline all over the patio before that fire that then caused an explosion and destroyed the building. An indictment unsealed last week alleges that Lynn Price orchestrated this plan. The owner of that bar allegedly told FBI agents he initially planned to bring Lynn Price into that business, but then decided not to. The owner allegedly turned down a box of cash Lynn Price brought him to be part of the ownership team. And then when Bar 5015 started selling crawfish, apparently using the Turkey Leg Hut supplier, the owner said Lynn Price called screaming and hollering and threatened to blow the place up. So in the past, Lynn Price went to federal prison on tax fraud related charges. Once he got out on supervised release, prosecutors allege that he's been involved in other criminal activity, including paying a co-defendant in this arson case to steal vehicles and heavy machinery. The
FBI. So I'm here in Houston. This is everywhere, right? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's just literally believing everything they're hearing. No one's really asking many questions. I see a lot of other YouTubers who are doing stories about this, and they're all pretty much just believing everything they're hearing in the news reports. But everyone seems to have amnesia or really short memories. Do you not remember they did the same thing when it came to Young Thug or to anybody else? They blow up and exaggerate your charges, get the public on your side. That way, when they railroad you, people don't protest and no one says anything. Now, I've met this guy a few times. I've had a drink with him. He's more of a brute. He's not the brains. So let's go over some of these things in the case that do not add up, do not make sense. So let's point out the holes in them. And we're going to also talk about something that nobody else wants to talk about that is very important. Lynn Price is not the owner of Turkey Leg Hut. He has a wife. She's the brains. She's the one who's angry. She's the one who's vengeful. And from the looks of it, it seems like she's the one who set him up to take the fall for this and get him out of the way. Lynn Price, just like any other man that's successful with money and notoriety, the only purpose of having money and notoriety is so that you can meet more women to have sex with. That's the purpose of money and notoriety. That's why men work so hard. That's why we bust our ass. And that's why a lot of men are in prison right now, because they were trying to get to the money because they assume you need the money to get to the women. Before they had the money, that's when these people got married. Paul Pierce was just talking about it. Marriage is for poor people and the elderly. If you're young and you have money, marriage is a horrible idea because the temptation is there. It's going to be, and it all comes down to sex, especially if you're a man. And if you're not able to control your desire to have sex with beautiful women and leverage your celebrity, then women can punish you. Even if they're doing the same thing and they have side boyfriends, whatever, you being the man, you're going to get the most attention. So when they're talking about arson and these different crimes, they're pretending like Lynn Price was the person in charge. He wasn't. Matter of fact, this is his wife. She was the one who actually fired Lynn back in 2023. It was a huge scandal out here in Houston. Everyone's asking, if you're an owner, how can you get fired? He actually made the same point and said, well, how am I up here at the property if I'm fired? Matter of fact, how are you going to fire me if I'm an owner? But now that stuff is coming up in the media to do with law enforcement, oh, magically now he's the owner again? Really? Where's his wife with all this? Where was his wife when apparently he got upset about the guy from 5015 not wanting to do business with him? And matter of fact, I don't give a damn what part of the country you live in. Who would only charge $1,500 to commit arson and risk a 20-year sentence in prison? Now, if you look at the video, there's actually 3 people.
Prosecutors say Price
One,
conspired to set
two.
fire to bar 5015.
There's actually 3 people setting the fire. Lynn did not set the fire. But what they're doing is they're saying he paid somebody a whopping substantial $1,400. How many of you listening would have taken $1,400 to commit a felony? Yeah, me neither. And now let's see here. Why not $1,500? They're in Houston, Texas. They're not in Shreveport or some other, bogus sidewall country town. They're literally in Houston, Texas. $1,400 is not even $1,500. $1,400 divided up by 3 people. You're barely looking at about $400. Not even $400, like $475 a piece, if even. You can't even go out for drinks at 5015 on a Sunday night with $475 in your bank account. So for one, so that already doesn't make any sense. For 2, the person who's saying that he was paid to do that is probably somebody who now dislikes Lynn Price. Well, let's see here. All of this man's enemies, his wife can leverage against him. She has control of the brand, apparently. She has control over the business, the money, for the fact that she was able to fire him. She's the one in control of the IP. He's just the muscle, even though his face and her face are on all the advertisements, on all the sauces, on all the packaging. You know, this is also a BS case because everything they're bringing against him is very old. So it's going to be very hard to prove that he gave these people $1,400. There's not going to be he went to the bank and he withdrew $1,400. This is a business, turkey leg hut, that was making millions of dollars per month. A $1,400 expense is not going to be shown on a receipt. There's not going to be any evidence. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take a drug trafficker's word for it. The reason you'll take a drug trafficker's word for it is because Lynn Price is a former ex-convict who's already done time. He didn't do time for violence. He didn't do time for arson already. He didn't do time for anything. Apparently it was some kind of tax thing that he did. Paperwork. Again, he's brute. He's not brains. So he's going to get caught doing some blue collar stuff. That's not his lane. But he is the muscle. He's the big guy at the restaurant. You know, if you're with a woman and you're in this line of work, you're going to want a strong husband. Apparently she is bitter because he started sleeping with the employees behind her back. And she would rather tank the company because she's mad and vengeful than to focus on the business and keeping the family together. Like they always say, a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness, a man will sacrifice his family, his happiness for his family. And this situation is a perfect example of that. Why is no one bringing her up? Literally, she would have to be no less than a co-conspirator. She's literally the owner at the time of everything that they're saying happening. And the reason why I say she's the owner is because she fired Lynn. Lynn did not fire her. She fired him. Apparently, she brought the money. He brought the image. He brought the security. He started to promote, and he's actually out there cooking himself in a lot of instances. This is not a street dude. Yes, he has tattoos. Yeah, he's bald. He's not out here in the streets hustling. He'll fight you. I know he jumped on somebody at my friend's bar when I wasn't there that night, but he jumped on another dude. They got into it. Men are men. Men are going to put hands on each other. It happens. But is he out here selling dope, moving drugs, setting up robberies? He makes millions of dollars a week off of selling food and sauces with his picture on it. What type of crimes do you think he can get away with? At this point, when you're black, when you're black and you have money, you're no longer black. You're no longer black. People see you as something different, something other. Anybody at the bottom who's jealous of you, who envies you, who wants to take your space or to do what you're doing and catch up, because don't let anybody lie to you. Jealousy and envy are very, very strong emotions that certain people have. This is a man who people watched him in this Houston community bubble. And he got married. And he shows up. He has the cars. They have all the cool stuff outside the restaurants. People are talking about his food all over the country. He's the envy of a lot of business owners from this community in this area. People love to kick you while you're down and pounce on you. This is not a community that wants to see each other do well. This is a community that celebrates the downfall of its most wealthiest and successful men. That's the community that we're talking about. We're not talking about other groups in this country. You can find any man who maybe he had an ex-wife or a girlfriend that Lynn knocked down and had sex with. They will hate him. They're going to say anything they can. Remember, the man who's actually saying that he was paid $1,400, which that doesn't make sense. There's not going to be a paper trail of that. You're not going to be able to prove that Lynn Price gave him $1,400 to commit arson. I don't even know what do people charge to go and do arson? I'm sure it's more than $1,400. Nobody would take that. So who did hire these guys? Or did somebody not? I mean, who's even to say that these are the guys that did it? They have masks on. There's no actual evidence. That's why it's 5 years later. The only way they're saying who these people are is because one of the guys got caught trafficking fentanyl. Say he has a girlfriend or a wife himself that knows Lynn. What do you think is going to happen to his wife who knows Lynn when he goes to jail for 15 years for arson, but Lynn's still standing outside cooking oysters? Because see, after the fall of Turkey Leg Hut, Lynn put up a tent and was literally outside grilling oysters to keep the brand going, to keep making food for the community and doing business. This is not a guy that wants to be in the streets hustling. This is a guy who works. He's a worker. Yes, the tattoos and that image you think he's Suge Knight. He's a big dude, but he's not out here literally on the block committing crimes like that. He's a worker. People who have already done time in prison don't want to go back. For the most part, they don't want to go back. Some do. A lot do, and a lot do go back. This man, I've seen him literally. I've never actually drove by Turkey Leg Hut and did not see this man outside. If he's not working with the wait staff and working in the kitchen, that he's outside smoking hookah. I've literally seen him there every single time I've ever driven past. I've only been inside to eat there maybe twice, driven by there a million times. Met him, had drinks with him, don't know him like that, not really friends, but I'm looking at the whole situation and I'm watching everybody say stuff about him, but no one's mentioning the wife. No one's mentioning that there's not going to be any proof that he gave someone $1,400. They're saying that there's phone records that him and the guy were talking on that day, but there's no audio and there's no text showing what they talked about. So how are you going to say he's the one who orchestrated this? Now, for some crimes, they can get you on motive. So what if they're going to do? They're going to try to convince a jury, because what they're doing now by putting out all these stories is they're already contaminating the jury pool ahead of time. By the time anybody's selected for jury duty, they've only heard this side of the case, and all you see is his face, but they black out his fucking wife. Why is his wife's face blacked out? She was literally the co-owner. Oh, but then this is the crazy part. They're talking about he was selling weed out of the restaurant. Well, who said that? Oh, the same guy who also was caught trafficking fentanyl is saying that I brought weed to. So this guy. Let me get this straight. This must be like the black YN version of Noriega. He's trafficking fentanyl. He also does arson on the side, and he traffics marijuana from Houston to California. When does he have time to sleep? This is what they call a super thug. A super thug is moving weed, moving fentanyl, and doing arson on the side for the hell of it. Because think about it. If someone's giving you $1,400, that means you did it for free. The gas in those cans back in 2020 under Biden, the gas in those cans cost more than $1,400. So you're telling me he liked this guy Lynn so much that he's willing to go commit felonies on his behalf for free. And then, they brought weed to the turkey leg hut. Okay, there are dispensaries here in Texas. People sell and buy weed every single day here in Houston. They just have a restriction on certain types of THC. Who's to say whatever weed Lynn had wasn't the type that's legal to have here in certain quantities? Matter of fact, where are the pictures and video showing that any of these stories were even true about that weed ever being there? Or are we just all supposed to live and die off the words of a man that was caught red-handed trafficking fentanyl? Let's ask ChatGPT. Let's see here. What are the sentencing guidelines for trafficking fentanyl in America? So the man who we're taking the word for it, depending on, and if he was caught trafficking a lot. So let's see here, more than 400 grams. First offense is a mandatory 10 years to life in prison. Second offense, 15 years to life. So we're looking at real numbers here. We're looking at somebody that's facing real time. And we're supposed to believe what they're saying about another man who they likely hate over a woman. I live in Houston. There are certain men out here that have fame and notoriety. This city is known for beautiful women. The reason we love fame and notoriety is for the women. If somebody, and it's a 95% chance, if somebody hates you, it's not over money, it's not over business, it's not over something you said. It's a 95 to 99% chance if you're hated, it's because of women. Other men hate certain men over women. So what they want to do is they want to see you go to jail. They want to see you get unalived so that you can leave their woman alone and the woman to come back to them. Why would somebody who's caught trafficking drugs admit to the time he did arson and moved weed. This is all smelling like it's a setup. Lynn Price being he's a muscle, he's not the brains. His wife is outsmarting him yet again. So let's go back to what happened when his wife kicked him out. The co-founders, Lynn Price and Nakia Holmes, experienced a deteriorating personal and professional relationship. In November of 2023, late 2023, Holmes, his wife, filed for divorce and subsequently took decisive actions to distance the business from Price. How if he's the owner? Because he's not the owner. He never was. The notice, okay, Price posted on Instagram a termination notice. So what she did, she gave a termination notice to the guy she was divorcing, Lynn Price. He posted it on the internet, and it was indicating that he was being removed from the company. How can your wife remove you from a company that you own unless you don't own it? All these different things are adding up to his wife, who has control over the money that was made by Turkey Leg Hut, because I don't see her out there with a grill cooking. I see that she's gone off the scene and laying low, but he still needs to make ends meet. So he's still out there grilling and doing oysters and making food. He didn't go back to a life of crime in the streets. He's making food. And then they're making up new stories about, oh, he told someone to steal an engine. The man makes millions a month. He could buy an engine. He didn't need somebody to go out and steal an engine. And how do you prove any of this? You can't. But they're telling you this because they want to poison the jury pool before the trial even starts. They want to, and the fact is, if he's not the brains, like I assume, he's going to take a deal. He's going to be too afraid of going back to prison, and he's not going to want to fight this. And he doesn't want to admit that his wife beat him. $1,400 to burn down 15 doesn't make any sense. Drug trafficking claims don't make any sense whatsoever. The man is outside cooking. He's not also selling gas out of the back of Turkey Leg Hut. That is a lie. Oh, he stored it there because they got 24-hour security. Anybody in Houston is security. Everyone has guns here. There is nobody there. It's not LA. This ain't California, where there's home invasions every 5 minutes and people are just looking for you because they know you're unarmed. Literally everybody here is armed. You don't need to store anything at the Turkey Leg Hut. Again, we're taking the words from a super thug. Trafficking marijuana, doing arson, and doing fentanyl. There's one main witness, and that's and his name is John Lee Price. However, he's not related to Lynn Price. They just have the same last name, oddly enough. And that's just the main accuser. Just one guy. One guy who's facing life in prison. How credible is that one guy? And why is nobody asking this question? Why is everybody just so quick to turn on Lynn and not even give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, well, let's look into this some more? You know why? Because in this community, in the Black community, watching rich, successful Black men burn is a pastime of the community, because now the community really is, it merged with the gay community and it's controlled by a lot of bitter women. So there is straight men who like women are on the chopping block. There's no love for them. Anything you say, everybody will believe. I was just talking to somebody about Puff Daddy's trial that's about to come up. And someone told me there's 200 people in the case, and I had to tell them we have to read together because they were arguing with me. There's only one woman. There's one victim in the entire Puff Daddy. All this stuff been going on for all these months. Him being in jail, denying his $50 million bond request for one victim who's still alive, who's married. They're accusing him of sex trafficking Cassie, his girlfriend of 10 years, a billionaire. They're trying to accuse him of selling Cassie to trafficking her for money. A billionaire. It's ridiculous on its head. There really is no case. I see everything about him being dropped because that's all there is. How do you say the woman I've been with for 10 years was actually a victim for 10 years when she can come and go as she pleases? She's doing all kind of freaky sexual stuff. If she didn't like it, she could. Matter of fact, we broke up before. She's married now. We obviously could break up and I'm not going to do nothing to her. So what are we? But again, burning rich black men and accusing them of a bunch of different random crimes. It's a pastime. It's what people love to do. They love it. Anything they make up, the public's going to believe it because they want to believe it. They don't want to see you. You think people around you, because you guys look alike, love you and want to see you successful? No, they don't. They don't want to see you with more than them. Why do you think they loved Kamala Harris so much when she was talking about equity? What equity means is that we're all equally poor, like we are in my home country. We're equally poor. Nobody can work. Nobody can make more than anyone else. We all just get vouchers from the government, and we're all on the same level. Nobody can look down on you because they work harder than you and say, ha, ha. People in this, I mean, you guys don't understand that there's an internal war in the community. And this is how they strike back. They take down the strongest and wealthiest amongst us. Any accusations, anything. I mean, just even if they're unbelievable and not true, like what's going on with Shannon Sharp, they just want to bury you and just, just like the baby oil stuff they brought up against Diddy. One accuser. Why does the amount of baby oil bottles I have in my house matter? Like, what are we talking about here? First he's blowing up restaurants, but now he sells weed. And now he also does Grand Theft Auto to steal engines. So what's next? They're going to say, yeah, Lynn Price was also responsible for stealing copper out of abandoned homes in the 5th Ward of Houston and taking the copper to junkyards for cash. That's what's next. What are we doing here? Do we humor everything without questioning it? He was literally married. The owner of the business is his wife. She's extremely vengeful and she's angry. Everything is collapsing around this man. And even when she kicked him away from the restaurant across the street, he opened up a tent with a grill and started doing oysters. Obviously, he's not a street dude. He'll knock your ass out, but he's not a street dude. He doesn't want to go back to jail. When they arrested him, they said he was upset because he knows nobody will believe him. Look at how he looks. People don't understand your image is everything. He looks like people are going to think they see him, they see Suge Knight. Suge Knight accidentally didn't purposely kill somebody. He literally accidentally, when leaving the scene of a shooting, hit somebody with his car backing out. For anybody else, you would have gotten probation, or you would have, at the max, you would have got an involuntary manslaughter charge, 2 years. Why is Suge Knight still in jail? It's your perceived image. A lot of these men should not still be in custody right now. But once they get you in, they're not letting you go. All the accusations against Big U in LA. Big, strong, hood, tattoo. Nobody actually saying they're making up stories saying that he unalived the kid. There's no actual proof of that. All these different charges being thrown on him to just embarrass him. Oh, he did laundering, this. When all the other stuff goes away, the only thing they're going to be able to realistically convict him of is probably, they're going to say, wire fraud for a loan that he legally applied for, that was being given out to businesses that he literally qualified for. Because they wired you the money, they're going to give him wire fraud charges. That's going to be the only one that they're going to be able to get to stick. The rest of it is going to be, because it's all just hearsay. Lynn Price, a person who's scheduled to go to prison for life for fentanyl trafficking, is your key main accuser. And then just subsequently other people with rumors, making up stuff about him, people that are envious and jealous of him. Like I said, every time you drive by that restaurant, there's a million women outside, and then there's him with a hookah. His wife hates him, and all the local men hate him. You think she could not get one of these guys to turn and say something about him to set him up if she promised to replace Lynn with this new guy? This is the real movie. And this is what really happens. Not that he's just some savvy, brain, street smart, henchman, genius. No, that's not the case, bro. This guy is a worker. He works his ass off. He's literally there from sun up till sundown. And he did all the right things. He put all the fancy cars and the trucks and the branding. But his wife owned everything. And his wife made sure he had no control over nothing at the end of the day. And she's going to make sure that he's not able to come back later and sue her for money that he's owed or for what he's, because remember, he's not the brains. He let her take it away from him. You know what he did? He said, I'll just start a new brand across the street and start grilling oysters. The oyster hunt. I've seen it, and I'm watching this. I've seen it happen to so many other men. And it's just sad to see other men literally not questioning this, not breaking it down, and just saying, yeah, he should be in jail. He's a threat to the community. How? How many years has this man been out of prison? Besides that fight he got in, what else has he been doing out here just hurting the community? Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? This guy does not deserve to sit in jail without bond. He doesn't. We don't know who the jurors are. So how can he be threatening jurors? He doesn't know who the judge is going to be. He just got arrested. How can he be threatening the judges? Why are they saying all this bull? Why are they just saying all this bullshit? It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense to me. What does make sense, though, is that his wife, they even block out her face. But again, this is what she looks like. She literally had him kicked off the property. Taken off. How if he's the owner? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. She's a black woman. She's angry. She's greedy. She had to get him out of the way. Whether he was cheating or not, she wanted him out of the way. Because it's money over everything when it comes to certain people. Yeah, you think these women love you. These women do not love you. They love what you can do for them. When they don't think they need you no more, they're going to show you. Better than they can tell you. You think she's in love with you. You think she's your partner, your life. You're wrong. Lynn was wrong. By the time he figured out that his wife wasn't it, did he go do domestic violence? Did he jump on her? Did he hurt her? No. He said, you know what? I'm a worker. I'm going to build something else, and I'm going to start over again. You can have it. He literally walked away. I don't see him crying about Turkey Leg Hut every day. I seen him open up a new business right across the street and just back to grinding on the road. And guess what? He still gets access to women, and he's divorced. Guess what his wife is? Bitter, single, older, alone. There's no other man about to come grab her hand and marry her unless he wants a bunch of money from her, which she's not willing to give up. So she's going to be single like the rest of them. But he's still a man. He can still go out there, meet another young chick, start something over again and build a new life and have another family. She cannot. That's male privilege. That makes him that puts him in a better position than her. And that's what makes her mad. She has motive to put this together. She's the brains. She can do it. He can't. I really do hope they give him a bond. The man doesn't deserve to be in jail. Question everything. None of this makes any sense. And then you cannot trust a drug trafficker who's trying to beat a life sentence. You can't take their word for it. Lynn Price didn't set fire or anything, and them saying somebody paid him. Basically, they did it for free. $1,400 isn't enough money to even count. Like and subscribe, share the video. We're going to do a deep dive on some more cases. We got some other things coming up, but remember, these women do not love you. They love what you can do for them. And if they can have the same lifestyle that they have with the husband, without a husband, they're going to get rid of the husband. She didn't have he's too big and strong for her to physically knock him off. So what she's going to do is have the justice systems do her dirty work for her. And she took the last 2 years to put this in place. It looks like she set him up, in my opinion. If you have any contrary disputes, or if you have anything else you want to say that contradicts what I'm saying, please leave a comment. I'm happy to hear from you. We can talk about it. Yeah. They, I'm looking at some of the comments now. He was building a legacy and he was doing a great job. He was a great role model because when his wife took everything from him, he started up again doing the oysters right across the street. And then all of a sudden 5015 started selling oysters. It seems like the owner of 5015 and Lynn's wife came together. She's probably sleeping with him now. She probably has a relationship with the owner of 5015. He's not extremely old or anything, he's an older black man. She's a woman. And we all know that these women go between successful men. They don't go into a pool of poor men or regular men. She's still here in Houston. She's picking from a shallow pool. Maybe they are conspiring against Lynn, because that's what it's looking like, because there's just too much piling up on him all of a sudden, years and years later. And the fact that they're piling all this on him based off of the words of somebody, but there's no physical evidence, is what scares me. How do you arrest somebody while you're building a case against them? Shouldn't you already have the case before you arrest the man? It seems like they're not going in order anymore. Just anything goes. Like and subscribe, share the video, The Single Boyfriend, Safe and Effective Podcast. We'll be back with another segment shortly. Thank you.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.